I don't like your attitude. When are you gonna get to the point? Why are we talking about attitude? So what if I'm a little bit upset and I want to take it out on my customer? It's my choice. I thought about changing my shirt for this video, but same shirt, just different setting. Outside for this one, it's a beautiful day, and the hillbilly neighbors are now yelling at their front porch today, so that's nice. They suck so much, they're just so obnoxious with everything. But since everyone's quiet and it's a beautiful day, I'm outside and I'm enjoying the weather. This video is going to cover attitude, which I know it's not like, how do I make the perfect listing, and where do I source, and how am I supposed to price it? We're easing into that, believe it or not, we'll get there. But let's cover these fundamental topics first that people tend to ignore, that eventually is going to come back and bite you in the ass because you ignored them. It's like, let's build a foundation properly instead of building one that's kind of not going to pass the inspection and then wonder why the house is crooked. A couple of topics we're going to cover in this one is your attitude, your expectations, putting pressure on yourself, and actually coming up with a plan instead of just going for it. eBay is going to be different for every single seller for many reasons, including the categories they sell in, the effort that they put into it, and what their overall expectation is and what the overall goal is. Now, there's a variation of types of resellers, right? There's the occasionals, there's the, hey, it's Q4, I'm gonna cash in. There's the ones that are just part-time, they wanna make a couple $100, they wanna make $50, they're just trying to pay off their credit card. It's beautiful, yet confusing, because you have to tailor it to you. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle, because right off the bat, they don't even know why they're selling on eBay, right? If you don't know what your purpose is and what your goal is, then how are you supposed to know if you're, get off me. How are you supposed to know if you're failing? How are you supposed to know if you're on track? How are you supposed to know what the end goal is if you don't even understand what that is in the first place? So let's talk about that first. So before you get started, or even if you are already started as a reseller on eBay or a seller on eBay, you should really write down what your goals are. If it's a monetary goal, that's the one that's usually easiest to document and work towards, because you can say, hey, I have $50,000 of student loan debt, and what I want to do with eBay is pay off my student loan debt early. So you can do some really simple calculations, like what the compounding interest is based off of how much money you put towards your loans, and you can say, well, that $50,000 is actually going to cost me $57,000 in the time period that I want to achieve that goal. If you do that, then you can do some math, some pretty basic math, and figure out how much you actually need to bring in to get that goal accomplished. The other goal might be starting at a point where you're not really sure, but you eventually want to become a full-time reseller, meaning your primary income is from selling stuff on eBay. In that case, you need a timeline that defines time, obviously, and money, obviously, and how much money you actually need to bring in on a consistent basis before you can leave your other revenue streams behind, or your job, etc. A lot of people get really excited about, well, I want to quit the 9-to-5 so that I can be independent, and then they realize how much work it is, and then they're like, that 9-to-5 is kind of nice because, like, I don't really do much and they pay me every single week. So that's first. Pause the video, stop the video, figure out what you want eBay to be for you. And it could be really simple, it could be really complex, but that's something you need to do first. Otherwise, you're just going to be kind of shooting at targets that are continuously moving, and you're not going to be very happy with yourself because there is no actual purpose besides just making extra money. And maybe that's your purpose too, but I don't really like that one. That's not one, for me, for the way this thing works up here, that's really measurable, right? You want something measurable. I think you can put in a healthy amount of pressure for you to succeed in a timeline, but you also have to give yourself some grace, because I'm assuming you're just starting, or you failed in the past and you want to try again. So let's build this relationship with ourselves and with eBay about these expectations. And maybe let's not go really hardcore and say I want to sell $50,000 my first month on eBay. Maybe ease into it a little bit, because the more unnecessary stress and pressure you put on yourself, the less likely you are going to be excited about continuing. And the more likely you're going to quit before you actually achieve that beautiful taste of getting it done and actually feeling that success of, hey, I'm actually doing this and the money's coming in consistently. So be very gentle with yourself, but be realistic as well. It's basically finding the right balance between becoming a total hippie and not doing anything, or becoming a cutthroat CEO that's really miserable. You have to find that inner peace first before you can continue. The other thing is to be realistic with yourself and your capacity and your time and your efforts and your abilities. You have to be a realistic person in order to succeed doing this. We're going to get into efficiencies and time studies in later videos, but if you don't have a lot of time, if you are a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, someone that's extremely busy and you're really just trying to squeeze every minute out of life and you just can't do it, then don't set unrealistic goals for yourself. Don't say, I'm going to list 50 things, I'm going to source 500 things, I'm going to sell everything in my closet, I'm going to make $1,000 right away. Like, just be realistic with yourself, because trust me, from experience, I've been in spots where I didn't make the right plan and I just said, yeah, we're going to do 80 listings a day. And then I'm like, whoa, this doesn't actually make sense, right? But then when I put it on paper and did the efficiency studies and actually figured out how much time I have and how much time I wanted to spend on eBay, then it became a lot clearer and a lot easier to do this stuff. So again, just be realistic. It's all right. Just take it easy. Everyone is different. Everyone's circumstances are different. Some people have children. Some people have no children. Some people are in a relationship. Some are not. Some have children. Some have disabled children. There's just so many factors. Some people are healthy, some people are disabled. There's so many factors to consider. You cannot compare yourself to anyone else you see on this internet thing talking about how much money they're making, because you're not the same thing as they are. You are a different human being with different circumstances, and you need to understand that, and that's part of your attitude towards what it is to be a seller on eBay. If you're looking for an app that can track all of your sales, all of your expenses, all of your inventory, and help you manage your business, download the Flipped app. We designed it as resellers for resellers. It's $10 a month. Technically, it's $9.99 a month. It's available for both Android and Apple in the United States and Canada, and you can download it from the App Store. You get a free 7-day trial. There's no reason not to try it. And once you download the app, explore it a bit, see what it can offer to you, and how it can simplify your business so that you understand your own numbers, so that you can work towards those goals that you established earlier in this video. Thank you for trying Flipped. And I think what ties into both of those quick topics is these influencer types on the internet, like us, right? We're like the content creator, whatever word you want to call it. I'm going to tell you, you should probably ignore the vast majority of them, because a lot of them are just making clickbait type videos that are drawn to make revenue from advertisements on YouTube. That's the vast majority of it, and that's actually quite a smart plan, because YouTubers make a lot of money, usually more than resellers or sellers on eBay. You have to be the one that has to understand which accounts are there for entertainment and which accounts are there for education, and maybe you find that one account that has a little bit of both that you really like, and that's probably the ones that you should watch. But just remember, the entertainer doesn't really care about your money and your income. The entertainer's there to entertain you, to kind of get you away from the stress, and that's needed, obviously. That's why a video of a guy driving a Lamborghini gets 1 million views, and a video of a guy telling you how to make enough money to buy a Lamborghini is gonna get like 1,000 views, right? It's entertainment factor. eBay is great because it exposes all the frauds, all the people that think they want to, but then they realize that they don't want to, or they can't, or they're not able to, or they're just not very well equipped. So it's really quite nice, because most jobs, like most bullshit jobs, like working at Starbucks or making sandwiches or some sort of customer service gig, like you can not work for the most part. Like you can literally not work, like go to the bathroom often, hide in a warehouse, like you can literally be as lazy as possible, and most of the time you're going to be tolerated by employers, because these types of jobs, that's just kind of what employers get. And it's really nice because you get that consistent 15 bucks an hour, or whatever the standard is nowadays, and you don't have to care. With eBay, you actually have to care and put in the work, and that's why it exposes you, because if you don't do the work, you don't get paid. Isn't that crazy? That's like a really crazy concept, but It's a really nice one because it keeps you grounded and it keeps you working and not watching TikTok stupidity. But your attitude really is key to this, because if your attitude is poor and you continuously are telling yourself that you're failing, you're not good enough, it's not going to work out, this is not for you, then, well, chances are that your productivity is going to suffer because of your attitude. If your attitude is like, you know, I'm gonna list thing and it's gonna sell right away and I'm gonna make a lot of money and this is gonna be amazing, life-changing, and I can't do anything wrong and I already know everything and I can't learn anything else, I've been doing this for 20 years, and well, that's also going to have negative effects on you, because, well, maybe you can learn something else, and maybe if you adjust your attitude again to find some sort of balance between those two, you're actually going to be better off. It's not a spectator sport, so watching other people on the internet bringing in so much money, thousands and thousands of dollars month after month, it's not going to do anything for you, because again, it doesn't affect your bank, it doesn't affect your bottom line. Having that right attitude to actually do the job that's required of you and do it right and consistently, that's what's going to bring money into the bank for you. So I understand that this is not like, you know, it's episode 3 of the 100% free course and I'm talking about attitude, but again, we need to set that foundation, and part of that foundation is your attitude towards it. And if your attitude is way out of whack, you're not going to win, or you're not going to succeed. I'm sorry to break the news to you. Which brings me to the next topic, which is, well, emotions. Folks that are extremely emotional are not really good candidates to be sellers on eBay, because they're going to be affected by the most insignificant things that in the grand scheme of things don't really mean anything, and they don't really hold much weight at all. And so let's run through a couple examples of an emotional seller, and then let's talk a little bit more about being a realistic, balanced seller that understands that strategy is always going to outpower emotion. And trust me, I've been there too, right? You sell an item, you put in a lot of work, you know it works, it gets there, the guy claims it doesn't work. I get it. You package it really well, it's a $200 item, you sold it, you're super excited, you only paid $5 for it, it arrives damaged. I get it. It's not fun, because these things are going to happen. However, the faster you can build an immunity to these things that are just part of the business, the better you're going to be. I'm not saying don't feel any emotions, right? Stuff is going to happen. You're going to be a little bit upset. You're going to be a little bit happy, whatever that may be, right? You're going to have that great sale that's going to be like, yes. And you're going to have that shitty day of sales. You're going to be like, what am I doing with my life? I get it. After 4 years, I felt all these emotions. What I'm saying to you is that the faster you build your immunity to them and the better you adapt to these little bumps in the road, the better off you're going to be long term. Understand that the longer you do this, the more returns you're going to have. The longer you do this, the more broken things will arrive. The more you do this, the more stuff you sell, the more things are going to get lost in the mail. These are normal things. It's just part of the business. It's going to happen. Every business experiences these bumps, and the better equipped you are mentally, the more likely you're going to succeed in the long term. Okay, great. Now I have no emotions, and now I'm 100%. No, stop it. It's about the right balance. Remember what I said earlier. Find the right balance between a total hippie and a cutthroat CEO. That's where you're going to succeed. In the long term, it's just eBay. It's just selling stuff. It's not that big of a deal, right? There's one nice thing about eBay is that it's so low liability, meaning like there's really not much that can happen to cause you this extreme anxiety or stress. And honestly, if selling on eBay does cause you extreme anxiety and stress, it just might not be for you, or you need to hook up with someone that can help you kind of level and deal with that stuff, because it's not good. Like if you're stressing out because you're selling stuff on eBay, that's not good, that's not normal, right? It's not, promise. Thank you again for watching this series of videos. My goal here is to create a free, 100% free eBay course for all sellers so they can simply watch the videos and put in practice what I'm preaching. This is now episode 3. If you have found any of these videos helpful, I did put a link below. You can buy me a coffee by basically tipping me for my content. That's how you can thank me if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, that's okay. Save that money and use it to buy inventory. In the next video, we're actually going to start selling on eBay by getting started. I hope I see you in that video, and thank you again for spending your time with me. If I have earned your subscription, Thank you. If I haven't yet, stay tuned, and I hope that I do earn your subscription to our channel. We have over 275 videos here, and they have a ton of value, just not in this exact format. Thank you again for watching, and take care of yourself.